The cake was already in Daniel Harper's hands when he put it back. For 1 second, the little girl beside him thought he was joking. "Dad." Daniel didn't answer. He carefully slid the white cake box back onto the bakery shelf, straightened the ribbon that had bent beneath his fingers, and stared at the price tag. 28.50. His daughter, Lily, stood frozen beside him in her yellow school dress, still holding the paper birthday crown she had worn all day. The bakery around them smelled like warm vanilla and fresh bread. Somewhere behind the counter, a mixer hummed. Daniel checked his wallet one more time. $12. He swallowed. "We can make pancakes tonight," he said quietly. "With strawberries." Lily looked at the cake. "But you said just one little cake." Daniel smiled, but his eyes gave him away. "I know, sweetheart." At a nearby table, a woman in a tailored navy suit slowly lowered her coffee cup. She had seen everything. Daniel hadn't. Her name was Claire Bennett, CEO of Bennett Foods, the company that owned the upscale neighborhood bakery where Daniel had stopped after work. And at that moment, Claire was having the worst day of her career. That morning, her board had rejected a major expansion plan. 2 investors had walked away. Her younger brother had accused her of caring more about quarterly numbers than people. And 30 minutes earlier, she had received a message from her assistant reminding her that she had forgotten her own mother's birthday dinner. So when she watched Daniel put the cake back, something inside her tightened. Her first instinct was simple: pay for it. But then Lily tugged Daniel's sleeve. "It's okay, Dad," she whispered. "We don't have to waste money on me." Daniel closed his eyes for half a second, and Claire understood something. The man wasn't embarrassed because he couldn't buy a cake. He was heartbroken because his daughter had learned to make herself smaller. Daniel thanked the cashier and started toward the door. Claire stood. "Excuse me." Daniel turned. Claire glanced at the cake, then at Lily. "I'd like to buy her birthday cake." Daniel's face changed immediately. "No, thank you. It's really not a problem." I said no. His voice wasn't angry, just firm. Claire wasn't used to hearing no. She stepped closer. "I'm only trying to help." Daniel looked down at Lily, then back at Claire. "And I appreciate that. But she needs to know her father can still take care of her." Claire felt the words hit harder than she expected. Daniel walked out. For a moment, Claire stood beside the untouched cake, feeling strangely foolish. Then Lily's birthday crown appeared again through the bakery window. She was sitting on a bench outside. Daniel had stopped. Claire watched him kneel in front of his daughter and say something she couldn't hear. Lily nodded. Then she hugged him. That should have been the end of it. But as Daniel opened the door of his old pickup truck, a loud snap came from beneath the hood. Steam rose into the bright afternoon. Daniel stepped back. Lily stared at him. "Is it bad?" He looked at the engine, then at the empty road, then at his daughter. "No," he lied gently. "Just needs a minute." Claire had come outside. She saw Daniel pull out his phone, make a call, then shake his head. No answer. He tried another number. Same result. That was when Claire learned the second truth. Daniel was supposed to pick up an overnight delivery shift in 40 minutes. If he missed it, he wouldn't get paid. And if he didn't get paid, he wouldn't have enough for the rent due Monday. Claire approached more carefully this time. "Is there a mechanic nearby?" Daniel sighed. "Probably. I just can't afford one today." Claire looked at the truck. "I know someone." Daniel almost laughed. "That sounds expensive." "It won't be." He studied her, suspicious but tired. Then Lily spoke before he could refuse. "Please, Dad. The truck looks like it's crying." Daniel let out a small laugh, and finally nodded. Claire called a mechanic she knew personally. While they waited, she learned Daniel worked 3 jobs: mornings unloading supply trucks, afternoons delivering groceries, and nights making emergency deliveries. His wife had died 4 years earlier after a sudden illness. Daniel had promised her 2 things: that Lily would never feel abandoned, and that he would never let grief turn him bitter. He had kept both promises. Mostly. There were days, he admitted quietly, when he hated being strong. There were nights when he sat in the kitchen after Lily fell asleep and wished someone would simply ask if he was okay. Claire didn't know what to say, so she said nothing. For once, silence felt more honest. Then came the next surprise. The mechanic arrived, opened the hood, and frowned. "The repair is going to cost at least $800. Daniel stared at him. $800 might as well have been $8,000. He thanked the mechanic and closed the hood. Claire knew what he was thinking. He would lose the delivery shift, then probably the truck, then maybe the apartment. She reached for her phone. "I can cover the—" "No." Daniel didn't even let her finish. Claire's patience finally cracked. Why are you making this harder than it has to be? Daniel looked at her. Because everything isn't a transaction. The words stopped her cold. Daniel continued. If you pay for my truck, I spend the next 6 months wondering how to repay you. If I can't repay you, I feel like I failed my daughter. You want to help? Then don't turn kindness into a debt I never asked for. Claire looked away. For years, money had been her answer to every problem. Donations, bonuses, checks. But Daniel was right. Sometimes people didn't need to be rescued. Sometimes they needed a door opened. Claire looked toward the bakery. Then she made a different phone call. 20 minutes later, Daniel received an offer. Bennett Foods needed a temporary overnight driver for a new local program. The position came with steady hours, health insurance after 90 days, and access to a company vehicle. It was not charity. It was a real job. Daniel read the offer twice. Why me? Claire smiled faintly. Because I watched you return a cake instead of pretending you could afford it. You didn't blame anyone. You didn't ask for pity. And you still made your daughter smile. Daniel looked at Lily. She was sitting on the curb, drawing with a broken blue crayon from her backpack. Then he looked back at Claire. I'm not special. No, Claire said. That's exactly the point. There are millions of people doing extraordinary things while everyone else is too busy to notice. Daniel accepted the job. But Claire's biggest surprise came 3 months later. Daniel had become one of the company's most reliable drivers. Then one night, Claire received a report that he had missed a high-priority delivery. She was furious, until she found out why. Daniel had stopped on a highway after seeing an elderly woman standing beside a car with a flat tire. He had missed his delivery window helping her. Company policy said he could be disciplined. Claire called him into her office. Daniel stood quietly, already expecting the worst. I understand if you need to let me go, he said. Claire looked at him for a long moment. Then she pushed a photograph across the desk. It was a picture from 3 months earlier. Lily in her yellow dress, standing beside the cake shelf. Daniel stared at it. You kept this? Claire nodded. I kept it because that day reminded me of something I had forgotten. Daniel waited. Claire looked out the window. My mother used to say the measure of a life isn't how much you can buy for people. It's whether they feel less alone after meeting you. Her voice softened. I've spent years building a company. I'm not sure I've spent enough time building a life. Daniel said nothing. Then Claire added, You're not fired. He finally smiled. But your delivery? I'll take responsibility for it. No, Claire said. You already did. The following Saturday, Lily celebrated her 9th birthday. Daniel had saved enough to buy a cake himself. A small vanilla cake with strawberries. This time, when he reached for his wallet, Claire wasn't there. And that mattered, because Daniel didn't need her to be. But when Lily blew out the candles in their apartment, there was a knock at the door. Outside stood Claire. Not with an expensive gift. Not with cameras. Not with a check. Just a handwritten birthday card. Inside, Lily read the final line aloud. Never make yourself smaller to fit inside someone else's difficult day. Daniel looked at Claire. Claire looked at Lily. And for a moment, nobody spoke. Then Lily hugged both of them. That night, Daniel understood something he would never forget. The greatest kindness isn't always giving someone what they cannot afford. Sometimes it is seeing their struggle without taking away their dignity. And sometimes, the smallest moment, a father putting back a birthday cake, can remind an entire room that no one should have to prove they are worthy of being seen. Because true kindness doesn't make people feel indebted. It makes them feel less alone.